Hi guys, this is Scribbly again. You already guessed it with another product review, and today I'm going to talk about a Faber-Castell pen. Not that one, that is something else. I'll show that in a bit. It's the Emotion Black Pear-wood finish, and I got that pen here at a reduced price from our friends at the pencompany.com in England, the UK. Thank you very much, so that I could do this review here. So thank you for allowing me to purchase that pen at a reduced price. Pencompany.com. Thanks a lot. The pen comes in this, this is those regular Faber-Castell packaging, like many of those middle class Faber-Castell pens come in that white cardboard wrapper here. And if you take that out, you find that gift box here that has also a small brown strap. And it's the Faber-Castell logo here, says Faber-Castell since 1761. Faber-Castell logo here on top. You take that out, find an instruction manual in here. Talks a little bit about this wood finish here as being a natural product. So that means wood always looks, of course, slightly different from item to item, from pen to pen. So it might well be that when you purchase that pen, it doesn't look exactly like that, but has a little bit of different structure or something like that. That's what it says here. And then you have a couple of information, filling instructions for the fountain pen, and then I think it also comes as a ballpoint and as a pencil. So you have all those instructions here. And then, of course, the pen itself. My pen from the pen company came with a 4 GB USB stick or flash card or whatever these are called. It's a neat little thing. I don't know if they ship all the pens with that. You might just email them and ask them. Mine came with that. And I remember it said also something about that on the website, which it doesn't say right now anymore, if I've seen that right. So it's, it's like a credit card format USB thing that you can just put into your laptop. I mean, it's a promotional freebie, I guess. But yeah, thanks for that. If they've put that in just for me, thanks a lot. But I think it was on the website. There was a while when they had stock of those, so that came with the pen. But yeah, don't assume that it will always come with the pen. Probably it was just a one-timer. I don't know, as long as they had stock. So let's jump into the pen. The pen itself here has a, you could say that the shape of it is a cigar shaped pen. But then again, this is a fairly common. It's not really a cigar shape because, of course, this regular cigar shaped pen or cigar are rounded off towards both sides, and that one here is like capped off, right? I mean, this is a design element that comes with this indentation here. This little indentation here is a design element that you find in other Faber-Castell pens as well. I have a loom here with me that also has that design element here, so that is like sort of a trademark of Faber-Castell, so to speak, for many of their pens. And then again, this is also this cigar shaped, slightly tapering towards both ends, capped off, is a fairly common fountain pen design in general. I mean, apart from this very pronounced clip here, of course. And I have two other pens that I will still have to do a review of here with me, just to show you. This is a Sailor Pro Gear, also has that tapering down and capping off. And this here is a Pilot Prera, right? I mean, so you see, this is basically, and you also have a little bit of we can use that as a small size comparison also straight away. So you see that Pilot Prera, Sailor Pro Gear, and the Faber-Castell Emotion Black Pear-wood. It's essentially the same pen design, and then all three also have a rather short section. So that is a fairly common fountain pen design that the Faber-Castell Emotion comes with, but it is a very lovely design. So let's have a closer look at the pen itself. It comes with, it has this very, very beautiful cap. I love that cap. The pen is fairly heavy. It's a rather short pen. I'll do a size comparison to a Lamy All-Star in a bit. It's a pretty heavy pen. This is a chrome plated cap. It's also fairly heavy, has a a plastic inner cap that prevents the nib from drying out, a spring-loaded grip that really has a grip to it. If you put that pen into your shirt pocket, it's definitely not going to fall out, with this very nice spring-loaded grip, with this has 3 dots here at the top of the cap, a ring around here, some small grooves here, and then tapers down here a little bit. It's very shiny, says Faber-Castell since 1761. It is very prone to fingerprint, also catching fingerprints. It's a fingerprint magnet. It doesn't bother me. I just wipe it off. But also, if I don't wipe it off, it just doesn't bother me at all. So if that's something that bothers you, you might think about whether this is the right pen for you. But it doesn't really bother me. It's very, very shiny. Looks very lovely. I really love this cap. If you put that on your desk like that and you write, it just looks, I like looking at that cap while writing with a pen. It's a very nice cap. A very nice design feature, very nice design element. Then you have the wooden barrel, and I have that in the black pear-wood finish here. I also have the same pen as a rollerball. And this is the brown pear-wood finish, the dark brown. There's also a light brown one. This is the dark brown one. And you see that wood here has a little bit more of a structure to it. That one here is a little bit more, even. There's not so much of a structure. Of course, it looks like wood, but there's not so much of it doesn't have that type of structure in here. But I thought I'll just show that to you as a comparison so that it was better with my hand, so that you can actually see how the brown would compare to the black, like this. And then the pen, of course, tapers down towards the other end, has also a chrome plated finish here, and that small indentation as a design element. If you open the cap, the pen, if you uncap it, it's a screw-on cap. What I really also like about that pen is that you just twist it once and it's closed, and you twist it one, not even a full twist, it's probably a half turn, and it's open and you're good to write. I have said that in other reviews already. I don't like pens that I have to twist and turn and turn and turn until they're finally uncapped and I can start writing. That's a little bit of an issue with the sailors sometimes. They really need 1 or 2 full twists. That's something, I mean, this is one of my favorite fountain pens anyway, but that is something that I especially like because you just it uncaps really fast and you're good to go. I really like that. I screw on cap a fairly short section, but a fairly thick, girthy section, very comfortable to hold. It is also chrome plated, but it is not slippery. I do not find it slippery. It's very comfortable to hold. Probably also not because of the wooden barrel that really is not slippery and holds the pen into place here. That is very nice. So the pen is comfortable for me to hold like that. You could, I've often read that the pen is not postable. To my understanding it is. If I post the pen, the cap, it doesn't come off. So I can post it. However, I have tried the same with the rollerball, and that cap here does not, that falls off. That doesn't sit so fast. So I don't really know if there might be a difference in between the pens. Maybe it depends a little bit on how thick the wood actually is, and since it's a natural material, the thickness of the wood might differ. I'm not sure about that, but that pen here that I hold here is definitely postable and the cap does not come off. So if you buy the pen in a store, you might want to try that. So one can write the pen also posted. It does become a little top heavy. So not to the extent that it would be uncomfortable, but it just becomes a little top heavy. But then again, the weight distribution center is about here where the pen rests on your hand. So it's okay, but I personally prefer to write the pen unposted. Let's do, before we look at the nib, a quick size comparison of the pen in general. And I use a standard reference that more or less anyone will know, which is a Lamy All-Star, which of course has the same size than a Lamy Safari. So if I lay the pens beside each other, I think it's fair to say that it's approximately the same length cap. uncapped. I bet that that one here is a bit shorter. Yes, uncapped. The Faber-Castell is quite a bit shorter, and then when posted, but then again be careful with the posted reference of the Faber-Castell, because apparently not all of them can be posted very well. Still shorter, so yeah, the Faber-Castell, to sum it up, is a shorter pen than the Lamy All-Star. That's something that's for sure. So the nib, I mean the Faber-Castell nibs are often said to be extremely smooth nibs, and it is true. I would attest them approximately the same smoothness than the Lamy nibs have. They are also very, very smooth. The Studio, or like the Z50 nib to be precise. I think it's a Z50 on the Lamy. I mean, that nib is super, super smooth. That is the smoothest steel nib that I own. To be honest with you, it's the same steel nib that comes with the Faber-Castell Loom, for example, and that is something that many people don't know. You can actually take out the nibs. So if you have a Faber-Castell Basic or Ondoro or Loom in broad or medium, and maybe that one in fine, and you want to swap the nibs, you can actually do that. You just grab the nib and you can actually just screw it out of the section like that. And if you, I don't remove that nib here right now because that pen is inked, but it looks essentially exactly the same, and you can just, yeah, you can just swap the nibs. Faber-Castell, to my knowledge, does not sell the nib and feed units like that, but that is something that you can do, and you can swap nibs if you have other Faber-Castell pens. The design of the Faber-Castell nib is very beautiful. It has this like small, I don't know, like dimples or dots in there, which is very beautiful. It has no breather hole, says F for fine, and has the Faber-Castell logo on top. You can see that here on top of it. One thing that I find with the overall aesthetics of that pen here, I don't know if you agree, but I find the nib could have been a bit larger. Like, I find the pen is rather chunky and the nib is fairly small. I find the proportions with that tiny or small nib looks much better on that pen here. It looks more balanced. I find on that pen here it's a bit, I don't know, I mean, it's still nice, but it's slightly out of balance. Like if you, for example, look at a the Sailor Pro Gear that has a larger nib, I find that just looks a bit better. But that is personal taste, personal style and preference. I still love the overall design of the pen, and as said, it very pleasant in the hand. The pen also comes with a converter, or it came with a converter, with a Faber-Castell converter. It's a fairly large converter. That one here is inked with Sailor Okuyama red ink, holds a quite generous amount of ink, and I have a fine nib on that one here, so I can write for a very, very good amount of time with that pen until I have to refill it. And it's very, the threading here is very nicely done, feels very high quality, as you would probably expect that from Faber-Castell. So that is a really nice pen. The price, I can maybe say something about the price of the pen. The pencompany.com actually has a quite good price on the pen, because it costs 68 British pounds. That is around 80 euro. So it is a little bit of an upmarket pen. So it's maybe something that you want to consider buying after your, you probably wrote with your TWSBI Echo or Lamy All-Star, something like that, or maybe even a Lamy Studio for a while, and you would now like to have something a little bit nicer that also looks a bit better in a business meeting or in a school or university setting or something like that. Then the pen might be a pen that you might want to consider. So on Amazon, it normally goes for around 95 euro or something like that. So 80 euro or around 68 British pounds is the pen company's price, and that is definitely worth to check out. I find that is a really good price. So the last thing that is left for me to do is to do a writing sample with this extraordinarily smooth nib. And for that, I will shift the camera a little and then also do zoom in like that. And we can have another look at this lovely nib here. I can already say this is a super smooth nib, a bit of a nail with not much line variation. Now it dried in a little bit. You already see that it's quite wet. It dried in a little bit, of course, because I had the pen uncapped for a while. Excuse my handwriting here again. It's always a little bit difficult with that, with the camera here. Faber-Castell Emotion comes with a fine nib. Very, very pleasant. You hear the nib writing. Do you hear the music of the nib? Very nice, but it's super, super smooth. I love this nib, I have to say. Let's check line variation. This is with no pressure at all. It doesn't have much, I think. This is a little bit more pressure. Now this is a lot of pressure. Yeah, you do get line variation, but you have to press the pen pretty hard. I wouldn't do that. Like if you really press it hard, you get line variation, but I would still say that is not really a line variation pen, because yeah, you really do have to press fairly hard in order to get that line variation. In regular writing, I think this is nothing that you would want to do. Wetness of the nib. I mean, the ink here is rather wet. Okuyama, Sailor Okuyama, but the nib, I would say the nib is a medium wetness. It's a fairly wet ink. It is rather on the wet side. It's definitely not a dry nib, but I would say it's yeah, it's medium. It's just okay. It's just fine. Yeah, so I think that was that. That's all about there's to say about that Faber-Castell Emotion. As said, it is one of my favorite fountain pens. I find the design very, very unique. It's a super smooth writer, but you might also want to consider the Faber-Castell Basic, Loom, Ondoro. They all come with the same nibs, all the same super smooth writing experience, even with a fine nib. One thing that I could maybe do at the end is just do a quick size comparison of that fine nib here with a Lamy Fine, just for you to see. This is Lamy Fine, Lamy All-Star. Lamy Fine. The Lamy Fine, this is inked with Iroshizuku Shinkai. The Lamy Fine runs slightly wider, just a little bit, a wee bit wider. So you've seen that as well. Yeah, that's that with that review. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you at the next review. Bye bye.